Te reo ererangi o te mānia. This episode was produced in Otatahi by Plains Media, with support from New Zealand On Air.
This is Simply Nourish, empowering women through menopause and beyond. I am your host, Brenda Bickerstaff. Join me and my guests for an inspiring conversation about how they survived and thrived during this important new chapter of life. Kia ora, and welcome to Simply Nourish, empowering women through menopause and beyond, where we dive into honest conversations with inspiring women rewriting the script after 50. I'm your host, Brenda Bickerstaff, and today I'm so excited to be joined by the vibrant, resilient, and incredibly passionate Gillian Halkett, founder of Dance Fitness Christchurch. From ballet and piano to customs brokering and graphic design, Gillian's journey is as layered as it is inspiring. But what makes her story truly powerful is the way she's turned adversity into energy, self-doubt into confidence, and movement into community. Gillian, welcome. I'm thrilled to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much, Brenda. It's lovely to be here.
Let's start with who you were before dance fitness became a thing. Tell us a little bit about your 40s. What did this stage of life look like for you?
In my 40s, I was just a mum at home. 3 children, just trying to count back what year that was, to be quite honest. And the children were at school, and I was lucky enough to be a mother at home and not having to worry about a job as such. So that was my 40s. And I didn't have a paying job until I was in my early 50s.
You have had such a varied and creative background. What did music and movement mean to you before it became central in your life?
I've been a dancer since I was 4. My mother sent me to dance lessons, ballet lessons, which I think was probably all there was in those days, at 4. And I became quite successful in dance and ballet until I became too short and too wide, as was the thing in those days. And so music took over and I learnt the piano. So I had to drop the dancing and learnt the piano. So ballet or movement and dance and music has always been a big thing. And that carried on in little bits and pieces. Even after I got married and had the children, I took choirs at school, conducted choirs, taught piano for children, took choirs, played the piano for choirs at schools and things. And it was always there, always. I've sung in bands before I was married. So it's just has been part of life. And this part didn't turn up until I was, the children had left school and I was in my early 50s. I think that makes sense. Mm.
Yeah, it does. So you said previously that you didn't have any paid employment until much later. So everything you were doing with dance and music was all voluntary in your early stage?
No, I didn't do what I do now until I was well into my 50s.
Yeah.
I didn't go to work. I didn't hold down a job, a paid job. Earlier on, before I was married. Then after I got married and had the children, I didn't have a job, didn't need a job. My lovely husband kept me at home and looking after the kids. And then I didn't go to work until the unfortunate circumstances of our eldest passing away from cancer. And when when the time was appropriate and I needed to have my brain somewhere else, I actually went and got myself a job. And that was my first paid employment from being a mother. And from there on in, I was employed. So that would have been, Rebecca passed away in 2003, so April 2003, so possibly the following year, I actually went to work and became a member of the working staff. And from there on in, my first job was as worked in a local newspaper because we lived rurally. I'd always been trained as a graphics artist through my father before I got married, so I just kept that up. And then went from there into the furniture removals business, would you believe, because that's where my husband was, and trained as a customs broker. And the dance crept in there. It became a way of release, went to classes and things, and it built from there, and left my job through the furniture removal business. That was many, many years and a lot of firm changes, and then dance just took over, and it became my full-time job.
Also during this time, of course, it's a time of a lot of change with a lot of women. Well, with every woman, absolutely everyone. So before we just delve a bit deeper into your story, I just wanted to touch on some of the things that may have affected the stage of your life, which of course is menopause.
Definitely.
And it's often not just that physical shift, but it's one that affects how we see ourselves, our energy and our confidence, and even how we show up in the world. What was this experience like for you during this time? You know, obviously, you've had the passing of your daughter as well, wrapping menopause all around that.
It's an interesting question. I always said I'm an epileptic, and have been an epileptic since, well, all my life, but never said anything to my parents about it. I used to, Ginger, me and Ginger don't get on. So we used to have a ginger beer bug. I don't know if you ever had one when you were
You've lost me with ginger, sorry.
The spice ginger.
Yes.
So it sets me off as an epileptic. And I don't know if you as a child ever made your own ginger beer.
No.
So it's not a hard process, but it's water and ginger and sugar, and the ginger develops the sugar, and there's a process you go through to make homemade ginger beer, and you feed it. It's a bug as such, and every time I used to have to feed this ginger beer bug, it would set me off on a funny tangent, not to being passed out on the floor and having a complete epileptic fit, but just not quite right. Never told my mother. Went through my whole entire schooling after the ginger beer was finished, never being bothered with this again. So adolescence, teenagehood, one child. And when I was pregnant with my second one, I smashed the car into a telephone pole, Christmas Eve, and was diagnosed as an epileptic. So I've been an epileptic for nearly 40 years. And when you talk about menopause, I always say mine came and went in the checkout line of a supermarket one day. Had a hot flush and that was the end of it. But being an epileptic, there are things you can't take, lots of things you can't take to help with epilepsy, with menopause. Yeah. And as a dancer, you have those menopause symptoms all the time. So you're always hot and you're always sweaty. And so you never know what it is. You never know if it's the dancing or the menopause. But the crankiness and the bloatingness is always there. And I found that more so in the last 3 or 4 years. And I'll be 65 in a few months. So it's a hard thing being the menopause is not nice, and it's there, I think, for a long time, and you have to learn to cope with it. My mother, who died at 90, said that she was constantly plagued with it right up until the day she died. And my grandmother often talked about it. And she died at 94, saying that she decided that she'd had symptoms her whole entire life. Mum had a hysterectomy quite early on, and from then on she was plagued with menopause symptoms, which she said she never got rid of. So, yeah, it's something that I think as a woman we have to either find a fix for, or we have to learn to deal with them, unfortunately.
And I'm guessing that in your grandmother's and your mother's time, there was no discussion about it. They were sort of a bit, woman being a bit hysterical type thing.
I have my sister-in-law who's slightly older than I am, not much, a couple of years. She still comes to visit. She lives up north. She still comes to visit with one of those handheld fans in her handbag. So she must be 66, and she come, and every now and then out the jersey comes off and the fan comes out, and it's not much fun.
No, and it is interesting because there's a lot of talk about the perimenopause, which is before our 12 months without having a period, and all the symptoms there. But often we're neglecting actually at the other end of the transition. Sometimes can be just, if not worse.
I think so, because there's, for some of us, especially with the moods and the bloatingness, I don't think there's a time limit to that. I think I found, especially in the last 3 years, mine have become a lot worse. And it doesn't seem to be a good solution for those, and I've just sort of gone more into looking at how to cope with those, thinking in the past, well, it's just me, but now realising it's not. There is a reason for those.
And it's more about the bloating,
and the mental side of things, the forgetfulness which is not good in my game at all.
Choreographing something and boom.
I got a little bit panicky. The last couple of months I've had to write. I don't write anything down. I mean, we choreograph. In the last 8 years Natalie, my daughter, and I, we work together a couple of days a week, but most of it's mine, and we've choreographed in 8 years thousands of tracks. And in the last couple of months I've actually put 2 down on paper, and which I've never ever done. And I'm thinking to myself, am I starting to lose it? At 64, have I started to lose it? But no, I've had a wee read lately and thought, no, it's not. It's just my age.
We're so lucky.
No.
So do you think it's impacted your confidence or your motivation at any point when you're trying to, get up on the stage?
Oh, without a doubt. Yep. And it's gone both ways. So sometimes I've been, I was going to say, so full of myself, which is no, that's not true. No, I don't think I've ever been full of myself. But
I can honestly say you're the last person I would expect to be full of themselves.
No, but some days I just don't want to get up there, because I've changed what I wear to class God knows how many times, and people just don't care. I think that's one of the reasons why we are so successful, is because we're not size 8 and below.
Yeah.
We're too normal. With Natalie and I anyway, we are 2 normal human beings, fighting the fat, I suppose. It's the only way for it. Mm.
And it's so ingrained within a female psyche about what the scales say, what the look is, what the size of the clothes is. And
in my industry, it's even worse. It's shocking. You get up there. Some of our classes are huge. Yesterday, morning class, there was 55 women in it, and you get up there and you think to yourself, I shouldn't. Some days, not all the time, but some days I get up there and I think to myself, I shouldn't be presenting this looking like this some days to 55 women. But that's just a fleeting thought every now and then, you know. Possibly at the same time of the month when I should have had a period, maybe. I don't know. I've never documented it. You know, perhaps that thought is there at that same time. I don't know. I don't want to delve into it too much. It would put me over the edge, maybe.
We won't go there then.
No, don't.
Sometimes tough moments show us what really matters, and for you, it sparked something powerful. Let's go back when you first stepped into a Zumba class. What drew you in?
So many years ago, that was all that was being offered was Zumba. And I can remember where it was and what it was all about. And as I say, we brought our children up in the country, and I owned a business out there, and I needed to step away from that one night after closing the shop and go to Zumba, because it was dancing. Dancing had never left. Passion was always there. And it was in this rural town that we brought our kids up in, and it was in the community hall, and it was packed. This place was packed full of all these women who just wanted to dance. And the woman who took it, she had this great idea, because it was packed, and she moved the rows around every couple of songs. You know, the front ones ended up at the back, and she just kept rotating. That's how many people were there. And it was absolutely brilliant. And Christchurch loved the fact that this genre had come, you know, to Christchurch, and it was everywhere. And Natalie, who lived in town, she'd found this great class, and come in, Mum, and take it with me. So one night a week I'd drive into Christchurch and I'd take classes with my daughter. And thoroughly enjoyed it, and this woman who was taking these classes said to me, "You're quite good. You've got good rhythm, and you know what you're doing. Come and join me on the stage." And I went, "No." And she kept pestering me, and I said to her, when my grandson's born, because Natalie got married, she got pregnant, and I said to her, when my grandson's born, I will do it. And Ashley was born, and I joined this woman on the stage. And from then on in, it was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. This woman told me I had no rhythm, no timing, no people skills, and I was too fat. And I stayed. I don't know why. I just continued to dance with her. She taught me a lot. I must admit, she did teach me a lot. She taught me not to be full of myself. That's, I think, one of the biggest lessons she ever taught me, because in this industry, you can become so full of yourself. You know, you stand up there in front of people night after night, day after day, and they're all looking at you and think you're absolutely wonderful, and you can become such a big head. And she taught me that you can just present your craft to these people and show them how to move and how to have fun and be just a normal person. But anyway, I stayed with her for many years and learned a few things, and now I would cross the street to avoid her. Sad, isn't it?
It is.
But women en masse can be like that, unfortunately.
How did she treat you before she invited you on stage? So when she was conducting the
just like a normal person. She's an interesting person in herself. Even now, I have friends who she still has a class. I have friends who come to my class and they also still go to hers because they have no idea how to break away from that. And she has highs and lows in her mannerisms. So, swings and roundabouts. And at the time, she's quite a good instructor, but she's just odd in her mannerisms. But it was difficult to, I suppose at the time it was where she was and what she was offering. You didn't go looking for other places. It was where, the location was more so than anything else. And it was when the time came and I broke away from her, it was the best thing I ever did. As I say, we went from strength to strength after that.
Would you have considered her to have been your mentor? Would you have considered yourselves to be equal?
Never equal. Never, ever equal. Did I ever feel... No. A mentor to a certain degree because of what she taught me. There are still things today that she taught me that I use.
What would be an example?
Just certain ways to put together a playlist. I always think of her when I put them together. And there are certain ways that she did which are the complete wrong way to do it. So I would never go back to that. And I think my general outlook on what I do has come from the opposite of what she does. I think of her on a regular basis. People tell me I shouldn't. But the pain that she caused drives me to be the person I am today. And it's an awful thing to say because the woman's younger than I am. But to have that effect on one person is shocking.
So she invites you on stage. She invites you to be an instructor.
Part of.
Her whole setup, yet treats you...
like a piece of dirt.
Yeah. So how long into this did this verbal bullying?
Oh, probably the first class. Don't do it like this. Don't do it like that. Don't do it. I came from an advertising background, however loosely you want to say it. My father was a sign writer and a screen printer, so I took exams to become a graphic artist and a screen printer. So I was in advertising to some extent. And I remember her classes, the numbers were failing quite dramatically, but she didn't advertise anywhere. And I said to her, we could do these, because Facebook was around in those days. We could do these ads and, no, we don't need to do that. People will come, word of mouth and whatever. Well, the advertising I do for ours.
Yeah.
And she didn't think things were necessary. She wouldn't accept help of any sort. Her word was God. It's just her mannerisms.
I wonder why she wanted to share the stage with someone if she was so...
I don't know. Sharing the stage is a powerful thing. I've learnt that the hard way. Really have learnt that the hard way. Up until 12 months ago, the only person I shared the stage with was my daughter, because that's the way it was. In my day classes, I had never shared the stage because that's also the way it was. It's never been that way. I've got a young lady who works full-time for a supermarket chain in Wainoni, and when they let her loose, she comes and shares the stage with me during the day. But 12 months ago, my health deteriorated and a group of 17 women stepped up and said, don't close the classes down. We'll learn your routines, and if you can put playlists together while you're recovering, we'll do them. And they stepped up and they took all these classes. And when I came back to work, I shared the stage with these women. I'm going to cry. And it was the most powerful thing to share the stage with these women. And you'd never want to change that now. So I have no idea why this initial person would invite people on stage and then ridicule them. I don't think women give that any thought. They just feel it's their right to do it, to point out issues, that they put you in that space, and because they put you in that space, they let you, they then have the right to say things to you. No tact.
And instead of lifting women up,
Yep.
so many want to push them down. It's
Definitely.
almost like they're threatened by them.
Definitely, yes. That's precisely right. Where these women that volunteered to do for me while I wasn't capable of doing, they so enjoyed it. They just, I've never seen so many women blossom so much. They just loved it. Mistakes and all, they didn't care.
And you didn't either.
No, I didn't care. When I came back, I was able to sit and watch them from the sidelines, and it was hilarious. We've got a couple of tracks that some of them absolutely hate. I think they're brilliant tracks, and some of these girls and I've put them back in this month, and the girls just go, oh, I still have to do that. Oh, it's funny.
So a really, really difficult time for you.
People have difficult times.
But working with her was for 5 years?
Yes, it was.
Well, why did you stay?
I don't know. This is the silly part. I don't know why I stayed. And the thing what happened in the end is by staying, that's how this was built.
Yeah.
Because we end up, she had started with 3 classes, and one she dropped because of the numbers, and one was on one side of town and one was on the other. And she lived on this particular side of town, and she said, you take the one at Merrin Street and I'll keep the other one. And I said, fine. So they got parted. And that's how this became what it is. Because if I hadn't stayed, if I'd walked away and told her to get stuffed, I suppose, then this would never have happened. Because I would have just gone on with my day job and never thought about. I would have gone to another dance class maybe to get some exercise in, but I would never have built this to what it is today. So she's in my head all the time, thanking her in some respect. I had 5 years of hell. Some days she was great. 75% of the time she wasn't. And I still to this day do not know why I stayed. There was obviously something in it. This was in it.
So that would obviously, you're staying there for the 5 years, but it tells you a little bit about your own strength, doesn't it?
I guess. Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah.
Because you obviously are so passionate about the dance, and it was your outlet.
Yes.
And regardless of, she wouldn't survive workplace bullying, not good.
No.
And she was pretty terrible.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. She still teaches today. She still has a class today. Good on her. If that's what she wants to do, well done to her. But I say she still keeps me grounded. I mean, that's, I guess, a good thing.
Do you still think about the comments she made to you?
Yes, all the time. Not every day now, but all the time. There wouldn't be a week goes by when I don't think about it.
Do you believe the comments?
Yes, I do. I do, because it took me a long time for me to realise that people come to class for me. It took me years to work that one out. I'm just going into my 8th year in business, and we are part of Sports Canterbury. One of the things, we're part of many things, but one of the things I'm very proud of is we're part of Sports Canterbury. And there's certain things we have to do to become part of that, certain rules and regulations, but one of the things we have to do is present our numbers each quarter to them. And that's an interesting exercise to watch those numbers still growing after all this time, which is quite incredible, because we are a privately owned dance company. So we don't answer to anybody. We don't answer to Sports Canterbury. It's just part of being having some guidance if we need it. We don't, our choreography is our own. Now we pay for our music through Spotify and things just to be able to present it to a public platform. But we're not given anything, so we are privately owned, and we are one of the biggest privately owned dance fitness companies in Christchurch, which I think is absolutely amazing. But it took me a long time to understand that they come for me, they come for the antics that Natalie and I get up to on stage, because of what was driven through my head for 5 years by another woman. You know, that you're not good enough, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the next thing. It's, workplace bullying is what it is, that I stood and took for 5 years.
Do you think that experience has helped shape the type of leader you are and the type of instructor you are?
Yep, definitely. So in that case, that's what I thank her for. So it's the double-edged sword, isn't it? You put up with that, but I am thankful for that sort of. I stood there and took it, but I am grateful for it, because I say in this industry, you can become such a big head, but she has grounded me the whole time, and I think that attitude has led to our growth in 8 years, definitely.
Did she ever, or has she ever reached out to you?
No,
no.
Okay.
No, not on the Christmas card list.
No, the complete opposite. I'm not the only one she did that to. She cut a lot of people off, and when I went out on my own, I reached out again and embraced those people, because I didn't think what she'd done was correct. And one of the first things I did when I was on my own is I did my first fundraiser. And I took all those people that she'd cut off and I asked them to be part of that fundraising for, I don't know who it was, I don't know who, even remember who our first fundraiser was for, but we had 8 or 9 instructors in the old Merrin School Hall. It was absolutely brilliant. And that's when she cut me completely off everything, and she took people off. We had a shared page at that stage, Facebook page. Took those people off that page, blocked everybody else, and no, she would probably cross the road first before I would. That's okay.
Well, she can see that her mentor has done quite well.
Yes, I've done okay, and continue to want to do okay. Continue to want to bring the love of exercise and moving and a bit of socialising afterwards to people who need it.
You mentioned earlier about your daughter Rebecca passing with cancer at the age of 19.
Yes.
I can imagine as a mother that must be absolutely horrendous to have to go through.
It was, yep.
And more recently, you've gone through 2 bouts of cancer yourself. Like very recently, like you said, you had your wonderful wonderful friends come up and do the dance, and you were there doing your bit to fight cancer. Would you be willing to share what that time was like and how you found your way through? Firstly, maybe with your daughter, was dance.
No, nothing. No, there was no dancing in those days. So that was 2003. She passed away in 2003, so she would have been diagnosed 2000 and... she was diagnosed February 2002, I think, just before her 18th birthday. And she lasted, that's when it was, she lasted 14 months. So she died of a brain tumour. She was sick the last year of her high school, so she went right through. So it was forms in those days, not years.
I remember them.
Giving away your age. So she was a very good student, but couldn't retain any... when she was studying for her bursary exam, she couldn't retain anything, which was odd, and she couldn't walk in a straight line. And so did all the bits and pieces, all the hospital visits, doctor's visits, yada, yada, yada. And that was December, and she wasn't diagnosed till the February with a brain tumour. Brain tumours are secondary cancers, so never found out what the primary was. They didn't bother after they found that one. So she had 6 weeks of radiation, which in those days starts off at 2 hours and works its way down to just minutes. It's every day. It's not the same now. Well, it might be for brain tumours, but normally it's a different path now. And we also hunted out anything different that we could, as you do. But she passed away Easter Sunday of 2003. She left behind her sister and brother, who were younger than her. And what more do I say to that? Okay. See, she's been gone now longer than she was ever on the planet.
And then you've had to go through your own
So
battle.
then I've had 2 bouts this year. I've had a melanoma removed from my finger. My middle finger of my left hand, and was always been a large freckle, and it changed shape. As I say to you, when things like that change, get them looked at. And I went to my doctor, and he removed it because he quite likes to do that sort of thing. And it went away and came back as malignant. So they took out, went into hospital, and they took out quite a huge hunk of the finger. And while they were scanning me before surgery to take it out, they found lumps in the bottom lobe of my right lung, just one of those passing things. So after they'd done my finger, they took out the bottom third of my right lung. So it's gone, with more to come possibly. I've got cancer cells in the lobe above that one, which they're keeping an eye on. So that was all within 12 months. So we've got this fundraiser at Cal Stadium on the 5th of September, and it's interesting, we did one last year in there just before I went in to have my hand done. So it's been 12 months and I've had my hand and my lung done within 12 months.
Well, you've certainly lived through grief, health battles and professional challenges.
I have.
And you still show up with energy.
I do.
Humour and heart. What does resilience mean to you?
Keeping going. I've just booked all my all my rentals for the next 12 months to do it all over again for another 12 months. I had to all our classes taken at facilities that I have to book in advance. Some are council facilities, some are church halls, some are school halls, and some just expect me to turn up without, they just ask me, am I coming back? But they all have to be booked in advance, and one of the schools came to me yesterday and asked me to sign a contract for the next 12 months. So that prompted me to do the rest, and I've just done them all for the next 12 months. So that's resilience. That's just thinking, give me another 12 months and we'll just keep going. That's what I've done. Thinking, yep, another 12 months.
Another 12 months. Keep knocking those 12 months off.
Another 12 months of playlists.
We'll get to them in a minute.
Oh, hell's teeth.
So, you left your not-so-amazing mentor and you started your first class at Merrin's School.
Oh, the old hall.
Tell me, what was it like to step out for your first class?
So nerve-wracking, so nerve-wracking. The lovely old Merrin School hall that they were using as a put it here because I've got nowhere else to put it. Used to turn up on the night and wonder what was on the stage that you had to move. It was great. It was wonderful. Had lots of people turn up because they were tired of who they'd had. which was interesting. It was great. It was wonderful. And it's just gone from leaps and bounds, I guess. Went from one class to two, from two to three, from 3 to 6, and then from 6 to 9. Remember at 6 having to tell my mother, who was still with us then, and she says, "That'll be all now, won't it, Gillian? You remember how old you are."
And you're like, 9? It's a number. I'm just starting, Mum.
I think I had the 9 before she passed away, but...
She would have been so proud of you.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. But she always was concerned that I was doing too much at my age.
Isn't it different? It's so different, isn't it, from my grandmother's mother's generation, same with yours, that 65 or 60, they didn't work.
No.
And you should be resting now.
Yeah.
Not dancing around on a stage, Gillian.
No, definitely not.
How many people did you expect to turn up for your first class?
I didn't know. That was really, that's a good question. I had no idea. And we had, I think it was 26 that first night, which was great because the Monday prior to that, before the split, there were 9. And
9 at your class?
9 at that class.
The Merrim class.
There. And that was the way the numbers were going. And I don't, and we discussed this a few minutes ago, I don't look at this as dollar signs, but you do get to a certain point where the dollar signs do come in because you pay rentals on these places. And 9 would be just not covering the rental on a facility like that. At 26 was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And, of course, now that hall doesn't exist anymore. They demolished it to put in a brand new one, which we've gone back to, which was lovely. We're the only external hirer, having been invited to go back. And it's a brilliant, brilliant hall. But yeah, we just keep growing, which is wonderful. But we do a lot of advertising. Facebook advertising. It's the only place we advertise. And word of mouth, which I think is important. People enjoy themselves, so they keep spouting off about us.
Yeah. Were there any moments, like even during that first class or those first few weeks, when you thought, yes, this is mine, I've found it, this is my destiny?
I don't think I've ever felt that way. I really don't. I've never... No. I love what I do, but... I love what I do, but there are certain times I think to myself, what the hell have I got myself into? I love dancing, and I love the hilarity that goes on, because we have some really funny moments. And then when you're like me at the moment, who it is the 22nd of August, and I have to present new playlists in 8 days, and I've only just put them onto paper, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing? But I'd never give it up. I would, I'd drive out. My lovely husband, who's retired now, has been for a few years, and he's my chauffeur basically, because he comes to all my classes, bar one, I think. And I drive out at night, because I have a lot of night classes, and I drive in again an hour and a half later, and I think, that's it, I've done my day's work, rather than get up in the morning and go to a desk job and drive home at night.
Are you still living out in the country?
No, we live.
I think so.
Down the road from here. But no, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. As much as there are times where I get not frustrated, but I think to myself, how am I going to pull this off? It's because I put too much on myself.
You say you put too much on yourself. Do you think that could be like a, want of a better word, like a hangover from that woman?
No,
No?
No, it's just me.
Just wanting to
No,
be
it's just me.
the best that you can be.
Yeah, and which is, and I think that comes from people pay money to come to something like this. And I think you would like a certain standard. So you don't want to rock in at the beginning of a month and get rubbish. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to go into a class, and I've been to some classes, some very expensive classes too. And I expect, and maybe it's because I'm a dance fitness instructor, I don't know. I would expect something. So I put myself through a fair bit to make sure that even at the beginning of the month, what you're getting is money worthy, not just a bunch of nothing.
Yeah. Well, you, with your playlists and your different routines that you have to do, you say you've got 9 classes. Are all these the same routines?
No, they're not. Normally, in a month, so we've got 9 classes. Normally in a month you get 4 different playlists. For July and August, you haven't, because our Thursday night class has become a weight class. And that happens normally for July and August of every month, just to give in some extra strength to women past the age of 40. We need some weights. And we do have a weight class on a Saturday morning, but and a Tuesday night. But our Thursday night class, we've just made weights for July and August. So for at the moment, it's only 2 different playlists for July and August, but normally there's 4. And in those 9, there's 4 different playlists.
That's fantastic. You're bringing the strength training. I'm a huge advocate for strength training for women 40 plus, because it's so vital when we get through menopause for our bone strength, muscle strength, or our bone regeneration. It's the whole works. And people, they're sometimes so wrapped up in cardio that they're forgetting that actually you need to. I've been to one of your classes and I had to jump, and that's really important for bone density. I was like, holy moly.
So strength training at a dance class is a little bit different than going to a gym, because those tracks are set to 128 beats per minute. So you are lifting weights, so they don't want to be too heavy, and because you're lifting them at that repetitive at 128 beats. So people will come and say, oh yeah, I lift weights at the gym. Good on you. I'm pleased you're going to the gym and I'm pleased you're lifting weights, but come to one of those classes and lift them for 3 minutes and 46 seconds at 128 beats per minute, and you'll know you're lifting a set of weights.
I'm going to come to one of those.
Good girl.
I look forward to that challenge.
Good girl. It's slightly different than going to the gym.
Yeah, but must say here, the gym and lifting heavy is very important.
Very much so. Very much so.
So you started off with about 26 members about 8 years ago.
Yep.
Where are we sitting now with your membership?
2,415 this morning. I think it was 2,415 this morning.
That's fantastic.
Not that they all come.
No.
Although they could be like you and stalked us for how long?
I stalked you for 8 years.
Oh, right from the beginning.
Right, when you were actually at Merrin Street.
Oh,
Merrin Hall, when it was still the hall.
Oh, no. 8 years.
8 years.
So there's hope for me yet with all those other ones that are still stalking.
Absolutely. And then you'll probably have to get a bigger hall. Oh. Would you say that Dance Fitness Christchurch is a movement in its own right? It's not just a fitness class, it's a community, and it's a family. And if I can just, I read something on you posted something on Facebook this morning, and one of your members made this comment and said, it was about you re-signing up for next year, or the rentals. And she says, what a fabulous commitment to community and fitness. I can feel this is so much more for the love of both than it would ever be for the dosh.
And she's right. There's a lot of things that we do that isn't just dancing. So you can come in and do a class and walk away. Or you can come in and do the class and come for coffee afterwards. We celebrate as much as we can people's birthdays. We have, if we have the chance to buy tickets en masse to something, we will. And people can come and, we're on our way out on the end of August. There's 27 of us going to something. I don't know what it is. Can't remember now. But, we'll go to the movies en masse. We'll do things en masse. It is definitely a family rather than just a class, which I think is vitally important. We've been there for people who've lost family members, who've lost marriages, who've lost children. Yeah, definitely. And that's the way I always envisaged it. I didn't see it as anything else. I didn't want to just walk in and walk out. I wanted it to be a community of women who, not specifically women, but you count on one hand the number of men we've got, who needed more than just exercise. And that's the way it's become.
And of course, the thousands and thousands of dollars you have raised for charities. Stunning.
Can't tell you how many thousands. I just don't keep count. But if we've got a chance to raise some money for something, then we will.
You've walked through huge change, personally and professionally, and built something meaningful that continues to grow. Looking back now, what advice would you give to someone over 50 who feels stuck and unsure?
Oh, heck. Seek some advice from a friend. That's what I did. I went to a friend, admittedly in the industry, and I said to her, do you think I should do this? And she said, yes, I think you should.
Brilliant. What song gets you moving? No matter what type of day you've had.
No, I haven't got one. Sorry, I haven't got one. I've got one in every playlist, but not one song. No, I've got thousands.
Do you have a soundtrack that would be the track of your life?
No, I've got one song though.
What's that?
Never Gonna Stop Dancing by Pink.
Love it, love it. Some quick fire questions here. Crackling fire or pounding waves?
Pounding waves.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Dancing in the kitchen or dancing on the stage?
Oh, I have to be dancing on the stage, wouldn't it?
Sand between your toes or forest under your feet?
Sand between my toes.
Spring or autumn?
Spring.
Quickly tell us, where can people find you or connect with Dance Fitness Christchurch?
On our Facebook private group, which is Dance Fitness Christchurch, or CHCH.
Gillian, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Your honesty, humour and heart are exactly what this show is all about. Rewriting the script from 50 plus and showing what's possible when we lean into purpose and community. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
You've been listening to Simply Nourish, empowering women through menopause and beyond. With me, Brenda Bickerstaff. I'm a certified, registered and an experienced nutritionist and menopause coach. I'm passionate about supporting women to thrive during menopause with personally tailored science-backed nutrition and lifestyle strategies. You can find more information at simplynourish.co.nz. We will have a new episode for you on the second Sunday of every month at 5 p.m. on Plains Media. So mark your calendar and tune into 96.9 FM and plains.org.nz or subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcast or YouTube. You can also support Simply Nourish, empowering women through menopause and beyond by leaving a review. Stay up to date with the show on Instagram at Simply Nourish NZ and Facebook at Simply Nourish, where I also share the latest health information and strategies to support your menopause journey. Brought to you by BBG Built, your builders of choice, and Simply Nourish. Take care, trust yourself, and remember, small steps for big changes.